Welcome to HLTOC 101, or as I like to remember it as Health Talk 101. This is medical terminology. So how you get there is you go to the Peralta portal, click on the area for students, you put your user ID, which is generally your email, and your password. And it will pop you into this page where you're going to click on Canvas and directly launch you into your dashboard, which holds all of your classes that you have for the semester. Over in the Global Navigation toolbar, I want to point out the inbox, which is the primary way that I want to communicate with you. That way I'm not having emails in 5 different areas and I might miss a message. So I want everybody to use that inbox. And then at the very bottom, importantly, is this help button, which takes you to a lot of very important links for the Peralta Community College District to help you be successful in this course. So we're going to click on HLTOC, and it takes you directly to the home page. Up here, there is going to be the most recent announcements when I do make an announcement. It's generally going to be up here front and center, so it's always a good place to look first. Down here, I'm not going to read everything to you because you can read it, but it'll tell you how to contact me, different ways that we can communicate with each other after we communicate through the inbox if you need additional help. And also the way to access the modules. You can access it here, or you can access it over here in the class navigation toolbar. So we're going to click on modules, and then we're going to get launched directly into the class. Now, I want to point out to you, these things with the eyeballs crossed out, you're not going to see any of that extra nonsense over here. You're just going to see a very streamlined page, which I will help you to see right now in the student view. So when you go to modules, this is what you're going to see. Just the things that you need to know. All right, the first week is all about orientation, and I encourage you to read every single little thing on here. It looks like there's a lot, but here's the syllabus that you got before class started, as well as the welcome letter that you got before class started. So you already read those. I just took out these little headers so that you could access important information quickly without having to go through the entire document again. This is your first assignment, getting to know you. How do I know it's your first assignment? Because it's got points next to it. Also, in each module that corresponds to each week of courses of this course, you are going to see obviously the objectives, but at the very bottom is another way to keep a track of your coursework. This is where you're going to find out what assignments are due. I encourage you to use this as a checklist for yourself for every week to make sure that you are doing all of your assignments. This is a Canvas tutorial. I mean, you can read all of the different ways that you can familiarize yourself with the programs that are associated with this course. Academic calendar. This is the communication plan. So again, we're predominantly going to use the inbox of Canvas. There's other ways to be in communication with each other as well as with me. One is an ongoing and open discussion, which is a raise your hand. This is a discussion board that I'm going to have open through the semester. It's where you can post questions, issues. If you have a question, I'm sure there are several other people in the class that also have the same question. It's a great way also to problem solve with each other and to get to know each other. The other way to get to know each other without me being involved is Club Medic. This is also an open discussion for students only, and the only way I'm going to come in here is if somebody says there's something inappropriate happening in this particular discussion board. Otherwise, this is for you to connect with your friends, or to connect with your other students and make friends, but also to connect. Sometimes you can connect and make study groups, or problem solve with each other, or network, especially if you find that you're going down the same career paths. So communication, the other way to communicate with me if you need additional help or if you need a conference with me, again, through the inbox, let me know what the issue is and we can either communicate that way, or I can set up a Zoom conference, or if you don't want to do that, we could do over the phone. There's a number of ways to communicate with each other virtually. This is about the group assignments. Each week we are going to have a group assignment. It's either going to be a group discussion or it's going to be a partnered writing assignment. So we'll talk about that a little bit closer to the time we're actually going to be doing that, because I don't want to overwhelm everyone. But these are how to do that. Pearson, I will talk to you about in a separate orientation within the same module. These are opportunities to get extra help. So there's extra mobile apps. There's also a link to Quizlet, which will help you make your own flashcards, which I find to be very helpful for medical terminology, because memorization and repetitiveness is how you're going to be successful in this course. This talks about extra medical terminology resources should you need it, and these are the chapters that we are not going to cover in this semester because there's just too much information. So if these topics pique your interest and you would like to know more about these things, you are more than welcome to learn about them here. The transcripts for the guided lectures are held within here, and you also still have access to those chapters within your e-text. Each week you're going to have a module. So this would be the module for next week, Introduction to Medical Terminology. Each module is set up the same way, so there aren't any surprises. There's an objectives page, which again, you're going to find which pages I'm talking about, which are the optional ungraded pages, and that these are the areas that I want you to specifically focus on, and these are the assignments due each week. Okay? Now, it looks like there's a whole lot of assignments, and there maybe, but they are, if you look at them very closely, a point for most of them, except for maybe for the study review questions. Each one of these is like a game, and so they don't take very long, but they're also designed to help you study. It's repetition, and you're learning it in different ways so that you can retain them information better. The self-paced studies, review questions, and the exam reviews are specifically designed for you to be able to be successful in the quiz. So everything we're doing here is designed to help you study. It's not busy work. It might feel like it, but you're studying while you're doing this. Discussion groups are actually, and the projects or the writing assignments are actually to help you to learn how to apply this in the real world. Okay? And why these things are important. So all the way down, you're going to see, obviously, if you just go through every single one of these, you won't miss an assignment. Also, you can double check yourself in the objectives, and over on the side here, you'll have a calendar that says what's up and coming, as well as in My Lab and Mastering that also has a calendar. So everywhere you go, there's going to be reminders of ways to remember what assignments are due. Again, if you just simply go down and follow through the modules, you won't miss anything. What I do want to point out is before each discussion or each medical terminology or triage story, there is a description and the rubric. The rubric describes how I am going to be grading the specific assignment. Okay? There's also a little orientation about how to find the rubric in the very beginning. So that's why it's important to go through everything on it. I could sit here for 20 minutes and go through the entire class and still wouldn't be able to hit everything. So just make sure that you're reading through everything. Again, free points, midpoint feedback, as well as at the very, very end. is another feedback opportunity at the end of the semester after the final, another set of free points. So those are very important to me because that feedback helps me to develop the class for future generations. Also, I do want to remind you for the quizzes that each quiz is timed for 30 minutes. You have 3 attempts to answer the quiz, and I take the highest score. For each one of the homework assignments, they are untimed, meaning the timing is unlimited. You can have as much time as you want. It just has to be done within the week. And you can have as many attempts as you want. So again, the whole point behind doing these assignments is to help you study. That being said, I do not accept late work. It's super important if you are taking this course that you are, I'm assuming, going to be somewhere in the healthcare industry. And in the healthcare industry, it is of predominant importance that you follow through, you follow directions, that you double check everything, and that you're accountable for the work that you do. So again, you have all week, except for I think there's 1 week where you have like a couple more days because of holiday. But for the most part, the course will open at midnight on a Monday and will close at 11:59 on the following Sunday. If there is a disaster or an emergency, I will accept late work only for that one instance, and I mean one instance, and it has to be documented. Because I understand as well things happen. But things don't happen repetitively all at the same time in the same semester. So it has to be documented emergency, otherwise and only one instance, and otherwise I don't accept late work. Okay, so I'm hoping that is all. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me, and look for the announcements, and under the announcements there's always a space for you guys to post a response or ask a question as well. All right, let's get going. I'm excited.